Finally, morning, all kind of, sort of. So there's a neighbor not too far from me here who's I think they're putting their entire yard through their wood chipper. I've been waiting 2.5 hours to get videos started, so I actually taped up a board and decided, well, I might as well start a playlist, and then I hooked up a soundbar I got for the TV, made sure that was working, listened to some music, and now here I am because I've given up on waiting until they chop up their entire yard. I assume it's the entire yard. I assume it's all above board. I don't know. I started having flashbacks to Fargo, but yeah. Anyways, or Happy Death Day to You, or Tucker and Dale versus Evil. Great movie. All right, we got two games tonight. I'm going to apologize straight up for whenever the noise starts again because it's gonna. So it's 6:30 Eastern, 3:30 Pacific. The Boston Bruins at home against the New York Islanders. The Bruins have to win this game, right? This is you absolutely have to win this game, or you're likely going to go out. And for the Islanders, they're going to look to jump on Boston early. They're going to look to assert themselves, and if they play as well as they did in the last game, Boston had better be ready for that, right? So there's no Brandon Carlo for Boston. That is a major loss, and so Boston has to fight through that. On the later game front at 5 o'clock Pacific, 8 o'clock Eastern, we've got the Montreal Canadiens with a chance to round out the sweep against the Winnipeg Jets. So Montreal now up 3-0 after their convincing victory last night. Winnipeg's down to their last game, and they're saying all the right things about, yeah, we know it's a must win, and we've got to pull up our socks, and we got to, all in, and we got to do this, and it's not over and until it's over, and all those great phrases. But we hear them every year from every team that's about to get swept or knocked out of the playoffs. They just got to win the game. It's just, Jeff Petrie, game time decision for the Montreal Canadiens. You have to think if he doesn't play, then Romanov will. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting game, and see how this goes for Montreal. Also, John Merrill is getting closer to playing for Montreal, not playing tonight. But of course, Merrill used to play for Vegas, and there's a very real possibility that it could be Vegas against Montreal. So there's a lot of storylines with that that will make that series far more interesting than anybody's giving it credit for. So yeah, or maybe Winnipeg wins 4 in a row. Anyways, yesterday, of course, Canada won gold in overtime. I did watch the overtime in that game because, I was all done doing videos. I thought, sure, I can watch the overtime, and I thought Canada played well. I was impressed with Troy Stetcher. I know there's other Canuck fans watching that going, man, they made a mistake there. And yeah, I think they did. I think that there was a blind spot there, and they should have been circling back on Stetcher, and they should have found a way to keep him. But, good year in Detroit, and maybe that's why he played so well in the Worlds. Maybe it's after that year in Detroit that his confidence gets raised up, and yeah. So kudos to him and to Connor Brown, who had a fantastic tournament. Nick Paul ends up pocketing that goal. So if you're a Sens fan, you got to feel pretty happy about what you saw yesterday. Also, speaking of happiness, the reason I'm wearing Minnesota gear, and I would love to wear a Minnesota Wild hat that matches this jersey, but only Minnesota North Stars hats match this jersey. There's not a Minnesota Wild. I don't have a reverse retro Minnesota Wild hat. It's one of the few I was never able to get. I haven't seen it. I haven't had access to it. And I'm guessing if I found, I'd be paying about $100 Canadian with shipping to get it. So it's Minnesota North Stars. Apologies, but Marco Rossi is back skating. So he started skating again on Saturday. This is the first time he's been skating since he was taken down by COVID last fall. He ended up with and this is a condition you can get where it can affect your heart, and it affected his heart. So he has been out the entire season, hadn't been skating, he's been skating, and now it's a matter of getting him back into shape. And so they're hoping that he's good to go for training camp. And it's not just going to be a matter of making sure his heart's okay, it's a matter of making sure that he's got the ability to go out there and skate, that he's got the stamina for that, and to do that for a full 60. But if you put Rossi in the middle, you got Boldy coming in, and you've already got Kaprizov, you're building a pretty exciting young team there in Minnesota. So with the right moves this summer, Bill Guerin, with adding Rossi to that lineup, yeah, it could be a lot of fun to watch Minnesota next season. Last night, of course, we saw Mikko Rantanen's 17-game point streak ended, meaning that Pierre Maguire didn't have a reason to roll the R's in his name and talk about how fantastic he was after he scored another goal. But yeah, this is an interesting time for Colorado, where they've gone from so they should win the Stanley Cup to, well, it looks like they're going to go out in the second round again, and again, it shows just how fickle playoff success really is, where from a Monday to a Thursday, from a Saturday to a Monday, from just that quickly, you can go from, man, everybody loves this team, to, wow, everybody's turned against us, huh? Nobody has faith in us anymore. Very quick. And if Colorado wins Game 5, the narrative changes again. So I love NHL playoff hockey. It's fantastic. And I do hope for a Game 7 in that series. And I kind of, in a roundabout way, even though I'm a Bruins fan, it'd be great to see him finish in 6. I'd love to see a 7th game between Boston and the Islanders, because I think that series has been absolutely fantastic. And it's too bad that it looks like Tampa may very well finish off Carolina, unless Carolina has that comeback, which they've done before. But I'd love to see a Game 7 in every series. It just doesn't look like Winnipeg's going to be able to. If they force Game 5, we can start talking about a Game 6 or a Game 7. But they have to force Game 5 first. I can't even entertain the thought. So the Buffalo Sabres are getting calls on Ristolainen, apparently on Reinhart, and on Eichel. And so this is the way things are going to work now. Kevin Adams, he can basically remake this entire team. He could move Eichel, he could move Reinhart, he could move Ristolainen. He could move all three. Say, you know what? I'm going to get all three of them out. I didn't need Eichel for the second half of the season. They played better without him. Ristolainen, there's been this willy won't he stick around for a long time. And then maybe you circle back on Reinhart. You go, you know what? What are the Canucks willing to offer for Reinhart? Since that's been the whole buzz thing that, the Canucks will go in on Reinhart. So, yeah, it's a matter of what you can get back. And can you remake this team? And you can hire a brand new coach. I do wonder with Adams, is he better off trying to keep things together, trying to keep Eichel happy, try to keep Ristolainen around, re-sign Reinhart, or would he be better off? Would it have a better would it help his public perception to just say, you know what? Fine, if you don't want to be here, you're out, and you bring in a whole bunch of new players. You have a completely different roster next year, and you see just how great or how bad things are going to get. But yeah, maybe you do blow it up, and I think that would be bold and crazy, but maybe that's what Buffalo needs. Who knows? Anton Lundell has signed his entry-level contract for the Florida Panthers, and Lundell should very well crack that roster next year and be another offensive forward for a Florida team that already has a bunch. And Florida's likely going to lose one of those forwards in the expansion draft. When I was doing the expansion draft the other day, I saw just how vulnerable Florida could be in this expansion draft. So, and adding Lundell, who obviously would be exempt, is a huge add for them, and we'll see where he slots into the lineup. Also, this made news yesterday. The Canadian government has announced, as expected, that a U.S. team coming in to play against, likely Montreal, will not have to go through the 14-day quarantine. They'll have to stay in their hotel. There will be restrictions and rules placed on them. They get tested daily. But again, it's nowhere near as restrictive, or not for anywhere near as long, because it's just for one round of the playoffs for either the team that's against Montreal and gets knocked out by Montreal, or for Montreal and for the NHL if Montreal gets knocked out. So yeah, and it just leads towards what we all get the feeling that the border between the U.S. and Canada is going to open soon, on some limited basis at the very least. And this is just another example, because this is something that wouldn't have happened a year ago. But so that's good news. And hopefully Montreal tonight and Winnipeg have a really good game. I'm hoping for a close game and an exciting game at the same time, because it seems like either you get an exciting game between these two or you get a close game. Let's try to have both. I know, crazy, right? All right. That actually turned out to be not too bad in the noise department in the background. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. 196,000 subscribers, just insane. But thank you, each and every one of you, and I will talk to you again soon.